Hi everyone, this is Jeremy Van. So today we're going to talk about how to write a book and publish it with Amazon KDP. So KDP first stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. So KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. So I'm going to make this video in two videos, in fact. So today we're going to talk about how to write a book, and tomorrow I will make a video about how to publish with Amazon KDP. So how to write a book. We always wanted to write a book once in our lives, like talking about, I don't know, whether it's a story or to talk about an idea. We always wanted to write a book about something. What I'm going to talk about here is how to write a book of non-fiction, because that's what I do. I don't write books of fiction. So for fiction, the process is different. What I know is how to write books of non-fiction, specifically in economics and political science. So I'm going to focus on that. So one thing you need to do first is to have a title. Why do you need a title? Because the title establishes the scope of your topic. Because once you have a title, you immediately know what you're going to talk about and where your research is going to be about. So you need to have a title. That's the first thing I always do. I always have a title whenever I want to write a book. Then the next step I take in the process is to have an abstract. Why do you need an abstract? The abstract is the summary of the central idea of the book. I always start with an abstract. In the abstract, I talk about what the book is about. So, what the book is about, the nature of the book. What I mean by nature of the book, I mean, is it a book of politics, political science, or is it a book of economic history? Is it a book of economic theory? Is it a book of econometrics? So you have to specify that, the nature of the book. Then I state the objectives. So what is the purpose? What this book tries to demonstrate. And then, so yeah, these are the three main points that I always highlight in my abstract. Then I do the outline. So the outline is basically about the introduction, or should I say, let me do it better here. So it's about the preface, the introduction, and then the body of the book. So you can divide your book in many parts, or you can just divide your book in chapters. It depends on the subject that you are working on. So that's, and then of course after the body of the book you need conclusions and then reference. So this is how to write a book of non-fiction. Since I write books of economics and political science, the way I conduct my research is that I do my research as I write. Let me write it here. I do my research as I write. I don't do all the research first, then I start writing. I don't. So I always do my research as I write. Now, one of the things we need to talk about is the difficulty of writing a book, because you start, you're all fired up, and then in the process you stop. So the question here is how to keep going. You need to have a plan. So you need to have a plan. And the plan can be either writing per pages or writing per words. I personally do none of that because I've reached a level where I don't need to say, oh, I'm going to write 500 words today, now I'm done. I just write about a topic that I want to talk about in that very chapter. Once I'm done, I'm done. But that's my strategy. But for someone who is not at that level yet, you can either go by writing per page or writing per words. So writing per page means that you are writing according to the number of pages you want to complete in the day. So you can go say, oh, today I'm going to write 1 page, or I'm going to write 2 pages or 3 pages. I personally do not recommend this. Not recommended. I do not recommend this because if you've developed all your ideas and you're now short of ideas, and because you say that I want to write 10 pages, but everything you talk about is in 7 pages, what you're going to do about the 3 other pages? You're going to start repeating yourself just because you have to complete those 3 other pages to make it to 10. So it's not it's not a strategy that I recommend. I prefer the writing per words. At least when you write per words, you exactly know how many words you're going to put there, and it helps you reach a quota. So writing per words, usually the best quantity to start with for a new writer is to go with 500 words. So 500 words is roughly a page. So it's a good way to start. And when you do that pretty much every day, you see that you have a lot. But it's important to write every day, and you have to write specifically for a certain amount of hours. Let's say you work a lot during the week and you cannot write every day, which is understandable. You know, we don't have the same job, so some people work really late, so when they come home they're really tired and all they want to do is to go to bed. So when you don't have the possibility to work during to write during the week, you can always do that during the weekend. But it's always good to write at least 2 to 3 hours a day. That is what I write now. But when I start writing, I was writing 9 hours a day. Because back then I wasn't working full-time, I was working part-time, so I had a lot of time to write. So I would write 9 to 10 hours a day, pretty much. And that's why I've been able to write books like I drink water. But for someone who is starting the process, always go at your pace, but you have to follow a certain pattern. There's a certain rhythm you have to follow. You have to write at least 2 to 3 hours per day, if you can, of course. And you have to go per quota. So if you decide to write 2 to 3 hours per day, then you're definitely going to go beyond the 500 words, unless you're an extremely slow writer. But if you decide to go just by the words, then you will write for like 30 minutes to an hour on average. So this is the scheme to write a book pretty much. You always need a title, you need an abstract, and you need an outline. When you have those three, these three are the plan of the book. Once you have these three, you exactly know what direction you're gonna give it to your book. Very important. Without the abstract, you will not yourself know where you want to take your book, and your readers will not be able to follow. When a reader appreciates the work you've done, it means that you did a good work yourself. It means that you exactly knew what you talked about. But if a reader leaves you a bad review, it means that on your hand, you maybe did not understand the subject yourself. You thought that you did, but you did not. So these three elements are quintessential in order to start writing a book. And once you apply the writing per words, or the writing at least for 2 or 3 hours, you're pretty much set to go. But you have to be constant. You have to do it every day. Do it every day. Yes, I know, and I repeat again, everybody cannot do it every day, but for those who truly want to write a book, I believe that they can find a way to get it done on time. So this is the way, guys, to write a book, at least the plan. But of course, everyone has his own method. I do the research as I write. I never do the research before everything and then I start writing. That's not my style, but your style could be different. Some people rather do all the research they need, then start writing. I do the opposite. I just rather go with the flow, because as I do the research as I write, I may change my argument. I may extend it. I may restrict it. Who knows? So I just go with the flow. This is my style. So tomorrow, guys, I'm going now to explain to you how the publishing process with Amazon KDP works. So stay tuned and see you guys tomorrow.